Hello and welcome. This is going to be a not super in-depth, but also not bare minimum mining video for you guys. I am currently in game. This is going to be for all the Discord homies and pretty much anybody else online that needs a video for this. Let me turn myself up just a tad. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we're going to get started with what mining is. Okay. So mining in Star Citizen is either hand mining, rock mining, or prospector mining, or mole mining. However, as of 3.17.1, the mole is bugged. So best use scenario for the mole is for expeditions of 2 or more people, or someone other than the mole pilot and a prospector. Where it has the size 2 mining heads, it can easily break any 8K rock out there. That's an understatement for what the mole can do. However, the cargo for the mole isn't working. That's the bug in it. So even though you're hoovering up all the quantanium or laranite or whatever you're mining, you're not actually getting it, unfortunately. Learned that the hard way a couple of months ago. Actually, in 3.17, I learned that, so that kind of sucks. But essentially, the process of mining is exactly how you think it would be. You would find a gem rock or a mineral rock. Gems are for the rock, and minerals are for the prospector and mole. You have to match your power level. You can obviously customize your prospector at least to have a little bit better power transfer and whatnot. But you would then collect your gems or minerals. Gems you can sell at an outpost or at a TDD. Refined materials like quantanium, beryl, aluminum, gold, etc., has to be refined at one of the stations. So we're going to get into some best practices for mining. This is just going to be me talking for a second, and then I'm going to throw Urkel up on screen. And I'm also going to give you guys another website that'll greatly help you out. So let's go ahead and transition over to Urkel. Okay. So this is Urkel. Obviously, my camera's blocking some of this, but this is a great website to help with any ship loadout. But we go to select ship. We can go to Misc Prospector because I already have a rock video up. I'm going to link that in the description as well. So we're mainly going to focus on the prospector, what to change on it, how to find quantanium and other rocks, and how to refine those. So for the prospector, we're going to ignore the weapons. This is what we're looking at is the mining arm. And what we're going to change is the mining laser. Now, on Urkel, you have a power output. Now, the Helix obviously has the highest amount of power output. That's no secret. However, the differences here is that catastrophic charge rate, instability, and the instability. That minus 30 instability is minus 30%. That's a shitload. However, you can break bigger rocks with the Helix head with no modules. So we'll get into modules here in just a moment. The one that we want to go for is the Lancet MH1. And it just so happens to be the lowest powered mining laser even compared to the arbor that comes on the prospector. You guys are going to see that and think I'm crazy, but you can watch any other mining video and everybody's going to tell you the same thing. The difference in the Lancet is that the catastrophic charge rate, which is your overcharge rate, is minus 30, not plus 30. With the Helix, it's plus 20, so plus 20%. The Lancet is minus 30%. Instability, which is the big one, is minus 75%. And we'll get in, I'll show you what that looks like compared to the Arbor head, if I can. Now, the optimal charge rate is minus 30, so that's kind of a hit. But it does increase our optimal charge window to plus 40, which is huge. Huge, 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 especially for Quantanium. But what you can do with Urkel, and this is just kind of an overall general thing you can do with any ship or any vehicle, you would select what you want to change. Typically, I also change the power plant to a Genoa, and then the cooler to a snowpack. Quantum drive, you can pretty much change to whatever you want. I typically look for speed, but the VK00 is the worst for fuel efficiency. It's not great. The Atlas is a really good drive, and so is the Voyage. But the Atlas is my favorite. Now, what we would do after we've selected all of our stuff, we'll hit select ship non-stock items to cart. And then we go up here to our cart, and it'll tell us how much it is, where to get it, or what location to get it, and where we can get it. We can also click on this and try to make it a little bit easier. So we can actually get that at Omega Pro at New Babbage. We can also get that at New Babbage. However, the Atlas is only available at Her L5. So you got to do a little bit of traveling to get out your to get what you need. But that's totally okay. Well, that is just a general overview of what you need to get started with prospector mining. However, it did not add the Lancet. That's really weird. Huh. Okay, well, that's no time to figure that out. However, the Lancet can be found at a couple of different places. However, as of 317.1, all of the refinery store terminals are broken. So, you can get it at New Babbage, at Shubin. You can also get it at Tammy & Sons on Lorville. You can also buy it at Dumpers Depot on Port Olisar, unless that's changed. I haven't had to buy one in a few weeks, so I have no idea. But when we come back, we're going to take a look at what gear we need to mine in general as far as what our person needs to be wearing. Okay. So, refinery stations are at almost every L1 station. There are some L2s out there that have them, but L3, L4s, L5 I don't think have them. The refinery is somewhere we're going to be revisiting, but typically the gear that I wear, and this, you don't have to have this, but it's really for any situation. I'm so sorry my game is really laggy. We want the Pembroke armor. It's 10K. We want that, and then general rule of thumb is to also have a Pembroke backpack. That'll come in handy when you're hand mining, mainly because the Pembroke backpack will keep you cool in hot environments, which is where rock mining comes into play. There's also another suit for the cold called the Novikov suit. However, the Pembroke I've found is actually quite useful, even in the cold. I'll put it to you this way: I've never had a problem in the cold. Now, at all refinery stations in this bottom store where you buy the Pembroke, there's also Vantage Rentals. Please listen when I stress this: do not rent the Prospector. On rented vehicles, you cannot, I repeat, cannot change the mining head on a rented ship. Mainly the Prospector, but any ship, you cannot change the loadout on it. What you rent is what you get. If you are looking to get into mining, I would recommend coming here, especially if you have a couple of days. Rent the Rock for $4,300 for a day, and rent the Cuddy Black for $34,000 for the day. If you need that money, you can definitely get it by doing 3 to 4 bunker missions and still have some money left over to buy your mining tool, or your multi-tool, your mining attachment, and your tractor beam. These refinery terminals are typically where you would go to buy your ship modules for your mining head. Unfortunately, these are completely broken. You can use them, but they don't work. Obviously, you want to take some food and water with you. I actually need to buy some because I unfortunately died in a strange place last night and could not recover my body. However, there is a cheat around this that I will show you guys later in the video. Actually, no, I won't be showing you that because it's in my rock video. It was kind of a new revelation on me. So what we're going to do is we're going to get back to the hangar. So we're going to meet back at the hangar. Okay, so we're in the hangar.
Welcome.
Typically, this is where we would take our... this is where we would get our Prospector. However, we're going to be going to Arc L1, so we're going to grab my Aurora.
Your insurance claim has been moved to our storage facility. Vehicle selected.
And
Stand by.
we're going to meet back on the pad so we can set our course to Arc L1. Okay, so we're on the pad. Now, typically, you would be already at Arc L1 and retrieving your Aurora. The reason I say Arc L1 is we'll actually go through 2 parts of Prospector mining in this video. And while we do this, I'll be talking about some other mining things as well, because I'm not going to show you how to hand mine. That is... It follows the same process as rock and quantanium mining. It does follow the same process, so it's not as important for me to show you. So we're going to pull up our star map, and if you need to travel to Arc L1, it is right above Arc Corp. So we're going to lift off. And then we're going to get our quantum journey there, and I'm not going to pause this for just a moment so we can talk a little bit. However, I was going to mute the audio, but there's no point. But we're going to enjoy some lovely visuals while we talk. So, mining has been kind of hit or miss in 317.1. It's still obviously the easiest way to make money, but the time to find good quantanium rocks and good hadanite deposits rock mining has significantly been more difficult this patch. I'm hoping that CIG fixes that, or they introduce a way, some type of new radar or some type of new scanner to make it easy on the new guys and the seasoned vets alike that love to mine, like myself. Typically, a full Prospector load is 32 SCU. 32 SCU can typically bring roughly 375,000 at a TDD, like in Area 18, which is typically where I sell my belongings at. In addition to needing a prospector, needing to own one, not rent one, but own one, is you need a ship to transport your refined materials, whether it be quantanium, aluminum, gold, borace, beryl, quartz, whatever. Um, the Cutlass Black is a great option. However, it only has 46 SCU of space. What that means is you can take 4,600 single units of material to the TDD. So the ship that I recommend that's the cheapest first would either be one of the constellations, like the Taurus, either the constellation Taurus or the Drake Caterpillar. The Caterpillar is a great option. The best ship for cargo hauling, refined materials, things like that. The best ship to me is the Hercules C2, the Crusader Hercules Starlifter C2. That's the cargo variant of the gunship and altitude bomber. It is 4.9 million at Lorville New Deal or at Orison. I know that's a staggering price for a ship that's mainly just a transporter, but not only can you transport cargo and refined materials with the C2, you can also load 6 rocks into it, so you and all your buddies can go rock mining. You can set off in different directions and share your profits, or you can haul your rock and Ursa, ballista, whatever you want with the C2 as well. It's a great transport ship. Even bone stock, it's great. I do always recommend upgrading a quantum drive to something better. That's totally up to you. But yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to say about kind of some disclaimers about mining. Oh, and one more. Essentially, with Quantanium mining, anything over 5,200 mass is going to be unmineable with the Lancet MH1 unless you have a surge module and a stampede module. Now, with that being said, there's only a few places you can buy those modules, and you cannot buy any stampedes in game right now, to my knowledge. Somebody can correct me on that in the comments. I have no problem with you correcting me because that'll help me out. The surge module just gives a big overcharge to the rock that you're mining, and then once you get into the green, you can stampede it all the way through the green, and you can break the rock, usually no matter the size. That's where the helix comes in handy. If you're a really experienced miner and you can adjust the power level of the helix accordingly, you can break a lot of bigger rocks than the Lancet can break. I'm hoping in 317.2 that the refinery terminals are fixed. That's supposed to be one of the goals, so we'll see. But I'm going to pause, and we're going to meet back at Arkel 1 so we can get our prospector. Okay, so we're coming into our pad, or will be momentarily. Now, this is for the people who, haven't ever traveled to Arkel 1. Which, if you haven't, it's a great station.
Hello, and thank you for contacting EDO.
It's pretty close to everything you would want. Area 18's here. Hurston's close by. Microtech and Crusader are a little bit of a drive, but nah. So there's our pad. And the best way to land at these pads, or the best way to call, is to go ahead and set up that keybind. I don't know if, a lot of people don't know about that keybind, unfortunately. I didn't for a long time. But the keybind is under flight movement, I think. Ah, shit. I hate that. I hate that so much. Just let me out of the ship. So anyway, we're going to run into the hangars, and I'll meet you back there. Okay, so we're in the hangars. We're going to come up to the ASOP,
Welcome
and
to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
we're going to get our Prospector. Now, this being said, I don't have any modules on the Prospector. I don't even have any in stock anymore. I usually buy a bunch of them and keep them,
Vehicle selected.
but I don't have
Stand
any.
by.
So we're just going to grab our Prospector, wait on it to tell us where it is, if it even does.
Your vehicle
Head
has
forward.
been delivered to the following location.
So we're going to run back out and get in our Prospector, and I'll meet you guys back there. Something worth remembering: do not rent the Prospector. You will not be able to Quantanium mine unless you find a rock that is not worth mining, and we'll talk about that momentarily because I'm sure that we'll find a ton of them. Here's the Prospector in all its glory. It's a great ship. I genuinely enjoy the Prospector. I wish that it was easier to mine Quantanium with. Yeah, I just wish it was easier to mine Quantanium with the Lancet because it is the best in slot mining head. Not the most powerful, though. So we're going to go ahead and hop in the Prospector. You'd have to be kind of close to get in it. Obviously, a lot of you experienced guys will know that some of the canopies and ladders to get up are a little bit difficult. But for those of you that have not been in the Prospector, you do have a bed to bed log with. I am sad that it's missing the teddy bear like all the other ships, but I don't think Misc cares about that. You have a bathroom for whenever relieving yourself is available in game. The Prospector has 32 cubic SCU of storage, so 3,200 units. Typically it has 2 bulldogs, but I'm missing one. But here is what we do first. We're going to go ahead and hit the letter P for Papa and turn off our weapons because we don't need them in the Prospector and it takes power away from our mining laser. We're going to let our shields gen up to 100 before we consider taking off. And we're going to open our star map. We're going to click on ArcCorp, Lyria, and there are a few spots. Pretty much every jump point on Lyria has Quantanium around it. However, there are some spots that are better than others. So the first one is Shubin Mining Facility SAL2. That's my favorite. There are quite a few deposits there. It's a really good place, and it's almost always on the bright side of the planet. Great for you new guys. Sal 5 is the next one. It's usually also on the bright side of the planet, but usually gets a lot more darkness than the rest. Excuse me. Spal 7, Spal 12, and Spal 21. Those are almost always on the dark side for some reason, even though they're not very far apart. Spal 7 is sometimes bright, so is Spal 21, but 12 and 16 are almost always dark. I've never had luck at Spal 3. I've also never had luck at Humboldt Mines. But just to be on the safe side, we're going to go to Sal 2 so we can do a little bit of talking as well, because it does come into effect. Now, something to note about the Prospector. It is very slow. I hit something. That's embarrassing. I don't know what I hit. I must have hit the spinning ring. So definitely something to look out for. But I don't see any... I don't see any damage, so that's good. Anyway, we're going to get our jump to ArcCorp started here. The Prospector flies like a boat, as we've seen. It is not very responsive at all. It is not very responsive at all, unfortunately. So when we get to Lyria, it's hopefully going to be bright so I can show you guys some things, but we may actually go to the dark side of the planet so you can see the HUD a bit better. But first things first, we're going to discuss how to set up our Prospector for scanning, mining, and just some general rules of thumb. And we'll be able to go over a lot of that while we're at SAL2, but we'll probably go to SPAL 7 or SPAL 21 and get on the dark side of the planet so you can see the HUD. General rule of thumb with the Prospector, stay at SCM. That would be this little box here. Now, there are ways to keep your SCM set but still go faster than SCM. I have no idea how to do that. I think it's a useless feature for someone like me who doesn't do a lot of ship-to-ship combat. You can use VTOL mode, but you're even more sluggish then, but you do raise up and go down quite a bit quicker. I typically only use VTOL if I start getting into trouble, if I'm about to smack a mountainside or just something of that nature. Obviously use your boosters a lot. Your boosters will absolutely save you more often than not. This is also a bone stock Prospector minus the Lancet MH1 mining head. I've not upgraded the power plant, I've not upgraded the shields or the coolers or anything of that nature. I probably should. It would give me a little bit more pep. A lot of veteran Star Citizen players out there will tell you that power plants and coolers do not make a difference. Maybe they don't, or I'm just crazy because I can tell a difference in the way my ship reacts and the amount of power it has to a mining laser. So, yeah, that's just kind of my take on it. I definitely suggest upgrading it. This is my second Prospector, as my initial one has, we'll just say it spontaneously exploded. So once we get down here to the planet, we're going to talk about setting ourselves up to mine. Alright, so we're going to turn off our quantum drive. We're going to go ahead and pull out our mining laser with M. And then we're going to hit the period key twice. That's going to lower our ping angle. And comma raises it back. So if you use tab to ping, which gives you this graphic across the planet, down here we see these markings. That lets us know that there's something there, whether it be a gem or a mineral. The problem with keeping it at 360 degrees is it sees all around us. So we want to hit period twice to bring it down to 90 degrees and only see what's in our general heading direction. So we're going to hit that again, and it's going to show us 2 of them. So we're going to head on down here, and we're going to look for a few minutes to see what we find. If we don't find anything, I'll pause until I get the indicator that I've found Quantanium. However, I do not think that this is anything, but this is a good teaching moment to show you guys. This is a mineral of some kind. I don't know what it is. It is a Quantanium deposit. So, if we see over here on the right, that's where we had our pop-up. And this white diamond that comes up around certain rocks and gems lets us know kind of what it is before we even get to it. However, when we get down here, I'm going to show you guys what we want to look for initially. So you can actually see this orange marbling quite well from far away. That indicates Quantanium immediately. They'll let you know that you want to go check it out. Now, there's a few ways to do this. So if our mining display is, or if our mining arm's out, we're in mining mode. The Quantanium deposit has a mass of 6,000, so that lets us know that we can't mine it with just the MH1. Its initial instability is 5 with a resistance of 0.49. Now down here is where we see what it's made up of. 6,000 mass at 13% Quantanium is meh. That's okay. However, I'm going to show you guys a great tool. This is UEX Corp. Trading and mining, things like that. You set yourself to Quantanium, and we're going to look at the mass of the rock at 6,073 kilograms. Percentage is 13.80. So when we enter that, these numbers up here change. That's going to give us 16.7 SCUs of Quantanium as long as we pick up every piece of Quantanium percentage rock that we break. And then if we look over here, non-refined, it sells for 73,000. Over here, if it's refined, this tells us how much it'll be after refining. Now that doesn't take into account the cost to refine, but we'll talk about that when we actually get a load of quant to refine. So we're going to come back over here to the game, and we're going to skip over this rock. Now we're going to go over here to this second diamond, and I know it is a little bit hard to see, but it's around this rock. Right there, and it just went away. It is also a Quantanium deposit. We are getting very lucky. Okay, so it's a 3,800 rock that is totally mineable. And it's actually at 36%, so that is a good load. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come right down here to it. And we want to get as close as we can. There we go. We want fracturing mode. That was weird. Alright, so it's going to scan again here in a second. Our instability is 7.03. That is really, really high. But remember that we get a minus 75%. So we're going to turn our mining laser on with left click. And then as soon as we turn that on, our instability goes down to 1.75. We're at a mass of 3,814 and a 36.53 Quantanium percentage. So we're going to look that up. So 3814 at 36.53. That's going to give us 20 SCUs, which is 178,000 AUEC for about 20 minutes worth of work total. So we're going to come back to the game. And then we're going to run our mining laser power up with the scroll wheel. And we're going to throw it to 100 right away. And we're going to hold F5 to put all of our power toward our weapons, which is our mining laser. Now, if you see on the right, we have a charge level, we have an optimal window, and an overcharge window. We want this charge level to get into the green. And when it gets there, we want to lower our power until it stays in the green. Now, you may have to raise and lower it, raise and lower it. It's not a straightforward science. So we get close, we want to come down. Until we're in the green like we are right now. And we just want to hold it there. And we can tell it's struggling just a little bit. However, the optimal charge gets better the hotter it gets. Now, I've went just a tad too far, so we're going to lower our mining laser power down. And we're going to come back up just a little bit and back down. When the optimal green window charges up completely, the laser will stop. But if we go out of the green at all, except for into overcharge, we lose our optimal charge. And our green window goes back down. Now, when the rock breaks, our mining laser automatically turns off. So, we're going to come out of this, and we're going to take a look at what we're seeing here. So all those rocks have broken up. What do we do now? Well, we need to go back into mining mode and scan each one of them to see which ones have quantanium in them. Now, if you look, we have this orange border around the rock. That means it has to be fractured again. And this is a piece that we don't want because there's no quantanium. Now, so we move on to the second piece. No quantanium there either. So we move on to the next piece. This one should have some in it. Yeah, that's a 100% piece. So it's orange, and we need to break it again. So we're going to get down here. We want to back up just a tad because it looks like it's still falling. We're going to turn our mining laser on again, but if you notice, our charge level is already going up at 26%. So we don't want to run it up to 100 and risk exploding the rock, because when you overcharge the rock, it'll explode and kill you, or it can damage your ship and you'll have to beg in global for somebody to come pick you up. See, even 16% was too much. Even 11% is too much. So this is one of these that we have to play with the power level, because as the rocks get smaller, they get more unstable, but the resistance is a lot lower too, so our power doesn't have to be nearly as high. Okay, so we got that shield under attack. That was bad. Alright, so the purple pieces mean that they can be extracted. To do that, we want to right mouse click to bring it up. Now, we don't want to extract just yet because we have more pieces that we haven't scanned. There may be more quantanium to take here. However, it is unlikely. Okay, that's another 100% piece. That's awesome. And then we're going to scan the subterranean piece as well, because you can also fracture it and get more quantanium out of it. See, there's another 85% there. Let's see what's in this one. Okay, so no more quantanium. So we've got 3 more pieces that we need to break. So we're going to do this again. We're going to come up to about 20%. That's a fast charge because the mass is only 458. So even 9% there was too much. So we're going to stay at probably 5 to 6%. Okay, maybe 9 wasn't too much.
Warning, power critical. Warning, power critical.
Now, it is worth noting, if you do get a power critical, even if it doesn't completely explode, it can destroy your shields and possibly destroy your ship or knock the power out of it. Okay, seems like 8% is the sweet spot, so we're going to back up just a tad. There we go. Alright. And then we're going to break the subterranean piece. Now, when we break this top rock might fall on it. Also, something else worth noting is the optimal over on the left. That's where you want to be at. Sufficient is okay, but optimal is better. Quite a bit better. But this really is just a game of playing with your power level every second and just keeping an eye on things so you don't run into the overcharge or, you know, run these small pieces up to 100% and risk blowing yourself up. Okay. Alright, so we know that the rocks that we've broken have all have quantanium in them. But to scan them again, you just hover over them again like you did the original rocks, and it'll tell you what your composition is over here on the right. So once again, we're going to hit right click, and we're just going to start sucking up all of these rocks that we have. Like I said, purple can be extracted. You do not want to pump any more. You don't want to pump any more power into these purple rocks because they will explode and once again destroy you. But it is a really quick process. Each mining laser has a specific extraction rate. The Lancet is not very slow. But certain modules like the filter and the filter XL do decrease that time, or do decrease your extraction rate time. Now, something else worth noting is that you only have 15 minutes to get your quantanium back to a refinery. The closest one is ArcL1, and ArcL1 also gives you a 2% bonus on your yield. We also have a stability marker. We'll go over that as well. The stability marker, if you take damage, if there's damage to your ship, or if you land too hard, or if you take too long getting back to the refinery, it can really put a damper on your day. Also, it is also worth noting that UEX Corp is not exact, because if you guys look, we have 23.35 SCU of quantanium and some aluminum and inert materials, not very much. But if we go over here to UEX, it says we would only get 20.24. So we actually got 3 more SCU, so that's another couple thousand. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn our mining mode off, run our speed up really, really high.
Mining mode off.
And then we're going to set a course for ArcL1. Now, you may have to do a couple of jumps to get there. It is very, very possible. But, however, at certain places, you only have to do the single one. So we're going to get into Quantum, and I'll meet you guys back at ArcL1. Okay, so we're about to come out of Quantum. Something I'll show you guys as well is, if you didn't know this, when you get to a space station only that I've found so far, you can actually jump to it a second time. And whatever speed you enter Quantum at is what you'll come out at. Now, you do have to go that fast again. You know, you'll have to get that fast. But typically, I like to get up to, you know, couple hundred kilometers, about 500 to 600. We want to go ahead and send out our landing gear. We want to F8 so we get our thruster energy back. And as we start getting closer, we want to aim to the right of the stem. We want to start slowing down. And then we want to call the ATC so we can go ahead and get our pad.
Have a pleasant stay.
So right now we still have 10 minutes left.
Mining mode on. Mining mode off.
So we have plenty of time.
assigned landing bay.
Okay, so we got our landing bay. It should be popping up any second. Yep. And it's usually one of these first two pads. I rarely have a different one. Then we want to kind of come out to the side. Use our boosters to get us there. We want to come back to the left and forward. Then we want to slow down. Now, it's really important to stick the landing, and you definitely want to land as close to the dot, close to your chevron marker as you can. Alright, easy landing. Just a little bit of control at a time. Once we're down, we hop out. So I'll meet you back at the ship terminal. Okay, so we're back at the ASOP terminal. We want to store our ship as quickly as possible. Now, sometimes it'll say claim if you don't land on the pad at the right position. So just be aware of that. However, if you do have plenty of time, like we did with 10 minutes left, you can just leave your ship on the pad. And we can run over here to the elevator and go straight to the refinery. Don't dilly-dally in the Galleria. Couple things to note. If your ship gets impounded, you still have your cargo. You just have to pay the fine to get it back out. Something else to note is when you store your ship, that explosion timer stops. If you take your ship back out to go to another refinery, though, or to go back and you forget to come to the refinery to get your ship to go back and mine some more, and you haven't taken away the cargo, that timer starts back, usually right where it left off. Now, sometimes it is an instantaneous explosion, though, so just be careful of that. It is a little bit of a trek down to the refinery, but you know, that's kind of the way it goes, unfortunately, because we do have a long way to get to the refinery. If you pay attention to the stations, they're actually out away from the station itself. Now, it is worth noting that you can sell Quantanium without refining it, and that'll give you instant money. However, if you refine it, what you would get paid is a quarter of what it is refined, typically, or it's usually a little less than half. So what we want to do is we want to come all the way up here, up the stairs, past the first shop. Somebody left their gun laying here.
Everything all right?
That's a nice gun. I can't grab it because it's in an armistice zone. That sucks. However, here is the unrefined ore sale. You know, you can sell it here. And if we did, we'd get 102,000 for what we have. But we don't want to do that. We want to come over here to the refinement center. And then I already have two ready. That's what this is. But you go here to the left, select material location, your prospector. We have 2,363 CSU refinable. However, we're not worried about the aluminum. We just want the Quantanium. So we're currently holding 2,335, which is 23.35 CSCU. Now, the initial method that it gives you, which is the Cormac method, will hit get quote. So in 39 minutes and paying 9,427 AUEC, we're losing almost half of what we mined. So to fix that, there's a couple things we can do. We can go with pyrometric chromalysis, which is one of the faster methods, but you're also paying 28,000 to do it, but you are getting almost your full yield. We can also do Ferron exchange, which is the same price as Cormac, the same yield as Pyro, but double the time. Or, if this is the end of your night, you're not going to be playing the rest of the night, you're not getting on until the same time tomorrow evening, we can go to Dynex Solvenation. It's going to take 31 hours. We get the same yield as Pharaon and pay almost the same price, but it does take a lot longer. That's what you do if you're on a budget. We are actually going to do Pyro because I want this load quickly because I'm going to be playing the rest of the night. So once we get our Pyro quote, we'll hit confirm. It's going to tell us that unless we check the aluminum ore box to refine it, it's going to get rid of them. We don't want the aluminum, so we're going to go ahead and confirm that. And our work order sets up, and it starts counting down, and it shows us how much SCU it has refined, and it goes pretty quick. And then that is pretty much it. We'll pause here, and I will meet you back at the hangar because we're going to transport those other 2 loads that we have. Okay, so we're back at the ship terminal.
Welcome to the INSOT vehicle retrieval
Now that our
system.
load has refined, we need a ship to transport it. So I want to get my C2 out. It's going to take
Your insurance
a
claim
hot
has
minute.
been
It's going to
sent.
take 7.5 minutes to get here. So we'll meet back in 7.5 minutes, and we'll show you how to do that.
Please visit.
Okay, so something I forgot to mention is that you want to make sure that your ship is actually at the station. Whenever you load up your materials, you'll see work order complete, select storage option. We're going to throw this in my Star Lifter, my C2. So we're going to get the big load first. And then we're going to get the small load. It is worth noting that you can stop a delivery, but it is not, but I do not advise that at all. So your ship can also be on the pad already retrieved to do this. Sometimes it makes a difference, sometimes it doesn't. Usually you can actually see the cargo in the bay. It'll be in big black boxes. So we're going to pause, and we will kind of go through the motions. I'll meet you guys back in walking into the C2. Okay, so this is the C2. It's a huge fucking ship. There's 3 ways to get in. You can drop the back or front ramp, or you can go up through the elevator. The elevator is broken right now, kind of. The door doesn't open, so you just got to kind of press it and back the fuck up. We want to go into the lower deck so we can take a look at our cargo if it's actually here. And I don't think it is. It is not. Oh, there it is. This is what minerals that have been refined look like inside your ship. So we can go on up to the top deck and hop in the seat, and I'll kind of detail, kind of go into detail about where you can go to sell refined minerals. You can go to any trade development division, which are on major planets, and will also be on the Banu Merchantman whenever it finally drops in game. Hopefully that will be sometime soon. But if you're on Arc L1, the closest one is Arc Corp, Area 18. So just want to zoom in, find Area 18.
You are clear to launch.
Also, something that I didn't mention You can also mine in the Aaron Belt,
Landing gear up.
which is this outer ring all the way around. It's also between here and some places. Typically, if you start at Crew L1 and go to Arc L5, that's the typical mining point. That's the best deposit. If you drop out at 13 million miles out, 12 to 13 million miles out from Arc L5, you'll end up in the belt. So just keep that in mind if if that's something that you want to do. You're looking for Q-type asteroids. They also look exactly like quant rocks. They have that orange marbling on them. They're super easy to find.
Quantum travel engaged.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of point to show you that because Lyria is less hit and miss on finding Quantanium as compared to the belt. So it's just kind of one of those things that is up to your preference. If Lyria isn't providing, go to the belt, and vice versa. If the belt isn't providing, go to Lyria. Check it out. We're going to pause. We'll pick back up when we land at Area 18. I trust everybody should know how to do that. If not, there's a shitload of videos out there about how to do it. Okay, so we're coming in at Arc L1. Unfortunately, it didn't give us an actual hangar this time, which is kind of disappointing. We just want to kind of get in here as best as we can. It is kind of tough. Oh yeah, clean landing. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Not very clean. Not very clean. Alright, so once we get in the hangar, we can actually hold in and it'll auto land for us. Just in case you guys didn't know that.
Warning, you are blocking an active flight bay. Please.
I am not blocking an active flight bay. This is where you told me to land. Also, guys, it's worth noting that there has been a bug lately that if you get a little excited like I do and you use your keybind to call the ATC too many times, it'll actually give you a pad and then take it away. So just be aware of that. But all we're going to do when we get to Area 18 is we're going to run out of here, we're going to store our ship, and we're going to catch the train to the business district. So I will meet you back at the ASOP terminal, or meet you back at the train. Okay, so we narrowly caught the train. When we get to the business district here, the TDD is actually really easy to find. It's not one of those things that is hidden like the admin terminals. The TDD, like I said, super easy to find. When you walk in, there's going to be a row of computers. I'll take you guys through how to find it and how to get on the computers and sell your shit. This will also apply for Hadanite, Aphorite, gold, medical supplies, AV equipment, pretty much anything that you can cargo haul or mine. You have the ability to sell at the TDD. And also, if you get antsy on train trips, it'll tell you how long you've got there, and it'll tell you where you're going. Just something beautiful about this game that not a lot of people pay attention to.
Now arriving.
Okay. Alright, doors are open. So we pedal to the metal. Doesn't matter which side of the door you go through. Alright, so when you come in, it's also super beautiful here. You've got the pharmacy on your left, and then over here on your right of the big art court ball is the TDD. The doors are usually a tad bit slow, so you'll have to stop and wait for your grand entrance. Gets a little laggy inside here because there's NPCs that have a hard time loading in. You can go to the left or right side, it doesn't matter. You're going to come to the terminal, and it's the big one, not the small one. We're going to use it. You can also buy at this location. It's usually just scrap and waste, so you don't typically buy stuff on planet or at the TDD. You would buy at an outpost and take it to a TDD. So if you had hand mined with your multi-tool, you could sell stuff out of your Pembroke backpack or your ship. Or if you transfer it to the local inventory, you can sell it from there. But we're selling stuff from the ship. So we're going to click on that. Now I want to save the Quantanium for last. So our barrel sells for 4.35 AUEC per unit, and that's 2,022 AUEC. So not bad. Quartz doesn't sell really well, $1.55. Now our Quantanium sells for 88 per unit. For 3,572 units, that's 314,336 AUEC. I mined those deposits a couple of days ago, and I was saving them for this video. But that's a lot of money, and altogether, that's about an hour's work. That's more money than you can make doing anything else in the game. I do absolutely love Quantanium mining. It's a lot of fun. It can be boring and can be a little bit frustrating. But, you know, if you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments. We're going to get this money, and that'll put us to a little over 3 mil. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.